What's going on, chat? Welcome to a brand new live stream of Elden Ring content. That is correct. Elden Ring Variety Day today. How's it going, everyone? It is a fantastic, lovely Friday. Sorry, not Friday. Man, my days are completely messed up. It is a wonderful, amazing Monday evening. Almost 7:30 p.m. in my local time zone. Definitely not the latest stream that we've, ever done, but it's not super duper early in the day either. I would say this is like, for me personally, 7 p.m., 7:30 p.m., that's kind of sort of like a perfect time for me to start stream. So I'm not honestly too disappointed with, the time that I started streaming today, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to it quite a lot. But yeah, chat, welcome on in. Hopefully all of you are doing fantastic. Hopefully all of you out there are having a good start to your week. It is Monday here, and I'm pretty sure most of the places around the world it's still Monday. I don't think it's reached Tuesday yet. But yeah, hopefully all of you out there are able to enjoy, at least some amount of relaxation. I know that Mondays being, the beginning of the week with school or with work or whatever, it can be very, stressful, very, frustrating, right? But yeah, so chat, we are here today, right? I do want to kind of talk about, basically yesterday, and I want to talk about, today, our plans for our stream today, because for those of you who are unaware, I think all of you out there are pretty much, familiar with this. I typically do not stream on Mondays, right? This is not a day where I usually go live and where I usually play any games, right? However, yesterday was a rough day in terms of my kind of scheduling and my organization and all that. I was scheduled to stream on Sunday yesterday, as I normally do every single weekend. But this was another Sunday where I just got slapped around with homework assignments and really just annoying responsibilities, right, that I had to do. Yeah, I mean, there's not really anything much to say except for that, I was very occupied, very busy yesterday with doing my homework assignments. I also did have, two of the assignments that I was doing were these quizzes that I had to take for my business class. So I had to do these two homework assignments, and then I had to do the two quizzes. And that took me quite a good significant amount of time to complete. And by the time that I had like finished all of my work, it was roughly about like 11 p.m. or 11:30 p.m. at night. And so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just, yeah, I'm not gonna even bother trying to go live and stream. In fact, right, so for those who don't know, one of my classes, my business class, I should say, not multiple, but singular. For my business class, there are these homework assignments that we have, and they are usually given throughout the week. So like maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that sort of a thing, right? And, it is a discussion question where we are required to answer the prompt, and we're required to write, I think it's a minimum of 100 words for our answer. And, after we do that, we are expected to basically find two classmates that wrote comments on the discussion post and reply to them. And our reply to each student has to be a minimum of 100 words, right? Um, we've been having, these discussion question assignments basically every single week since like the beginning of the quarter, right? Since the beginning of this class. Um, Most of the time, I've been able to, keep up with it. I've been able to, complete those assignments on time without any issues. But I remember there was this one week where I ended up procrastinating, and for one of the discussion questions, right? I answered the question, but I did not respond to my classmates before the deadline, right? So I turned it in, like, technically I turned it in a little bit late, right? Um, I've talked about those discussion questions on stream before. It's a topic that we've discussed a little bit. And, for anyone out there who did not hear what I said about those questions that I have for my business class, I think that the way those questions are, where you have to write an answer and then you have to write, these responses to your classmates, I think it's such a garbage system of doing homework, right? I think that um, it is not benefiting any student whatsoever, right? Because I'm gonna talk about this from the perspective of a student, right? I observe that the majority of the time when I am required to respond to a classmate, I don't really have anything at all that needs to be said, which the classmate of mine did not already write. You know, like most of the time, a lot of the students in my class, a lot of me and my classmates, we basically give very, very similar answers to the prompt, to the question, right? That we have to write and like basically write a paragraph for the homework, right? So there's not really any sort of input that I can give to my classmates that would be beneficial to them, right? And so it's kind of just like me creating a random bullshit answer of at least 100 words where I say something like, oh, hey, blah, 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 classmate, whatever their name is. And I say, great answer or great job on answering the question. I also, too, think blah, 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 blah about blah, 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 right? Talking about the particular subject that we have to write about. And, basically my responses to my classmates are just so incredibly pointless and such a waste of time that there's zero value in it, right? Not only that, but also, to add more on top of that, I am 99.99% sure that my classmates do the exact same thing that I do, because guess what? We don't really give a shit about this class and about the subject, right? I would say that the vast majority of my classmates, as well as myself, we basically answer the prompt. We complete the homework by answering the prompt and writing our answer, and then after that, we just like exit the page, and we don't ever look at the other responses, the other answers, and whatever for the assignment, right? And so, let me give you a very quick example here. So let's say I write an answer to the discussion question that we were required to answer on this homework. I write a response, I write a paragraph, okay, minimum 100 words, and I write that paragraph, and then I click submit, and I post my answer to the comment section. After I do that, if, let's say that hypothetically there was, maybe two people, or maybe three people, or just one person who replied to my post and they wrote a comment underneath my post, I'm going to be honest with you, literally never have I ever gone and read what they wrote in response to my comment. I have never given less of a shit about what my classmates commented underneath my post, right? It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't bring any value to me. It's not important at all. It is just simply a way for my classmates to basically like fulfill the instructions that my professor gave and, get a good passing grade on the homework, right? That is literally the only reason why me and my fellow classmates comment on each other's posts, right? Um, so yeah, there's like there's no, conversation, there's no discussion happening between classmates. It's literally just you write your answer and then some random classmates of yours reply to your answer, and that's it. You just walk away and you get points for the homework assignment, right? There's nothing of value that is happening between multiple classmates, right? So yeah, I feel like because of these two reasons, basically reason number one being that, whatever I write to other students, it has no importance to it. It has no significance. There's no new information being presented. There's no, conversation or discussion happening. It's literally just me being like, oh yeah, good answer or good job, right? That's basically it. And then me bullshitting, the rest of the 98 or 97 words that I need to write. So because of that number one reason, and then number two reason, the fact that like me and my fellow classmates, very, very likely we do not read the shit that people comment under our own post because we don't care. Like it's not important to us. It doesn't matter, right? We are not required to respond to our classmates after they have responded to us, right? We are not required to have a back and forth, discussion where we each write one paragraph to each other repeatedly until the end of time, right? So yeah, because of these two reasons, I feel like the way that these discussion question homework assignments are set up, they are just a giant waste of time and a bunch of horseshit is what it is, right? So, this past week, right? So yesterday was Sunday, and, yesterday being Sunday, I had basically four discussion questions that we did throughout the week that I was supposed to, go to those discussion questions. I was supposed to find classmates' comments underneath it, and I was supposed to, reply to their responses, reply to their answers that they gave to the prompt. I'm gonna be honest, I did not do that shit, right? I did not, go and comment on my fellow classmates' answers on those discussion questions. I literally just answered the question, and then I was like, okay, fuck it, close the tab, exit out of the page, don't give a shit, right? And I remember that, like, yesterday, yesterday I finished my homework, right, the two quizzes and then the other two assignments for my other classes. I finished my homework that was due Sunday night, and it was like 11:30 p.m. or like 12. It was probably already midnight by the time that this happened, but I remember sitting at my computer, and I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I should do those discussion questions, right? Maybe I should go in there and write some responses just to get like even partial credit, in case my professor takes away points from my grade, because I did not fulfill like all of the instructions that my professor gave. So I sat at my computer and I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should try to see if I can get some partial points, and see if I can have these assignments counted as like slightly late or delayed or whatever. But the more that I sat around and thought about it, the more that I realized that, man, oh man, it was a giant, massive fucking waste of time. And I just thought to myself, I understand that I do need to get a good grade in this class, and I need to, perform well for my GPA, for my degree and whatever. But also, simultaneously, I realized that, this assignment, or actually these four assignments that we had throughout the week, they were not of value at all. There was literally nothing, significant or important about them. There was nothing that basically. Nothing that taught me anything new that, really provided any sort of enrichment to my education, to my academics, to my, knowledge and my skills and whatever. Yeah, no, like it did nothing. So when I realized that, these four discussion questions, these homework assignments, were so incredibly fucking pointless and useless, I was like, you know what? Nah. I'm just gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna be like, nope, I am not going to go and comment and write on my classmates' answers and make up a bullshit 100-word answer that does not matter, right? Um, yeah, it felt like such a I don't know. Yeah, such a pointless waste of time, and it was just incredibly fucking useless, where I was like, I'm not going to get anything out of it. My classmates are not going to get anything out of it, and I'm going to be completely fucking honest. I don't think my teacher, my professor, is getting anything out of it at all. Like, I don't think that she is, receiving any, even like a tiny smidgen of value from me creating these, like, it's eight total bullshit answers that I have to write, because it's two classmates for every post, and there's four posts. So it's like writing eight, bullshit answers for a total of 800 words, right? 100 words for each response. It just, like, yeah, there was nothing gained from doing that. Whether it be me, whether it be my classmates, whether it be my teacher, So when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not gonna do it. So, yeah, I sat at my computer at like midnight, and I was like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm just gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna watch videos. I'm gonna play video games. I'm gonna, do whatever fun stuff that I enjoy doing, rather than worrying about these stupid assignments that literally just, yeah, they don't help anyone. They don't achieve anything at all. So yeah, but, basically, TLDR is that yesterday on Sunday, I had a lot of homework, a lot of, work that I had to complete by the end of the day, and it ended up taking up quite a lot of time that I didn't like, and I didn't want it to take up that much time, but it did, and I was not able to stream yesterday. And so, since we did not stream yesterday, I decided, fuck it, we're going to be streaming today, especially because today, it is I think it's a US holiday, if I'm not mistaken. It is, I believe, Veterans Day, if my memory serves me correctly. And therefore, I did not have my Japanese class that I had to go to. And I had like one homework assignment that is due tonight, but I already completed it. It was very quick, very fast. So I was like, yeah, I have some free time today. Fuck it, let's stream. And so, yeah. I kind of thought about, like, what I wanted to stream. Do I want to stream some Genshin, some Wuthering Waves, some Elden Ring, some Nikke? What do I want to do, right? And I think I have figured out what we are going to be doing today, chat. I think so, maybe. And that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. I think that's what I want to kind of like set expectations for right here at the beginning of the stream. So, chat, as you can see here, we have Elden Ring in front of us, right? We have a little bit of Elden Ring left to do before we are completely 100% done. I actually, it's really funny. I completely forgot about this because, I feel like even though Elden Ring is like one entire complete package, like it is a singular game that has a shitload of content in it, for some reason, in my brain, I feel like playing the Elden Ring DLC, it feels like it's like a whole other game entirely, right? Like this map here, it just feels like, yeah, it feels like, I am playing basically Elden Ring 2 is what it feels like. And so because of how massive, how, you know, complex, and how, crazy interesting the DLC is as a an add-on to the game. I completely forgot about the base game of Elden Ring, and for those of you who don't remember, so before I started the Elden Ring DLC for the very first time, what I had done is I had gone through New Game Plus 7. I had beaten every single, major boss of the game in every area. The only boss that I did not yet fight and defeat was yeah, Radagon, right? So I did not fight Radagon, and I did not fight Elden Beast at all whatsoever. I decided that what I wanted to do is I wanted to, play the DLC. I wanted to beat the DLC, and then after that, I would go and I would fight the last boss of the base game, and then, obviously for those who, have played Elden Ring, you know about this. When you beat Radagon slash Elden Beast, you get to see like basically the main credit screen of the game. You get to see the title and the credits of all the different developers and creators and whatever. So I thought that it would be very thematic, very fitting if we fight Radagon and Elden Beast after we complete the DLC, and then we can conclude New Game Plus 7 in its entirety, right? We can just be like, okay, it's all done with. I have nothing left to do in New Game Plus 7. I can now move on to New Game Plus 8. So yeah, that's what I thought. And, because I was so basically hyper focused on the DLC content, I completely forgot that I had not yet defeated Radagon and Elden Beast. So, what that means is that we basically have, I would say that we have two things left to do in Elden Ring before we go into New Game Plus 8, right? We have number one, we need to go and make sure that we duplicate every single remembrance, right? Every remembrance from the DLC that we want to duplicate, that we have the ability to duplicate, we want to duplicate them, just so we can get, all of the different remembrance rewards, right? So that's basically step number one. Step number two is that after that, we can finally go onwards and fight Radagon and Elden Beast, right? And then I think, what I would like to do, ideally, is I would like to basically take a moment to, talk and discuss and share my thoughts and opinions on the Elden Ring DLC in its entirety, as a whole, as a package. I want to talk about what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and, basically my thoughts and opinions at the end of the day. Did I enjoy the DLC? Did I have fun? Did I find it entertaining? Did I find it, to be a memorable experience, right? So that is kind of what we have on our agenda today for Elden Ring, okay? Now, after, we wrap everything up very nicely and neatly with Elden Ring New Game Plus 7, I think what I would like to try doing, I can't make any promises, but what I would like to see if we have the ability to do is I would like to potentially basically load up Wuthering Waves and play some Wuthering Waves, because there is a limited event that is currently ongoing that I have not yet done, and I think the limited event ends, I want to say tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's tomorrow, or maybe it's the day after. So it's ending very soon, and I need to do it. So I'm thinking that maybe if we are able to finish Elden Ring within, like, potentially 2 hours or like 2.5 hours or something, we can then jump over to Wuthering Waves and play that a little bit. And then probably after Wuthering Waves is done, I'm thinking that maybe it'll be like probably around the 3 or 4 hour mark of the stream, And I think what I'll probably do is I will stop there. I will go ahead and conclude the stream after Wuthering Waves is over. And then what will happen is I will return back on Friday, which is... What day is Friday? Let me see here. Friday is November... What is it? 15th? Let me see here. 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, I think it's November 15th is when, I will be streaming again for you guys. So we'll return on Friday with some more gaming, some more content for you guys. Yeah. One thing that I was actually thinking of, chat, is after we complete the Elden Ring DLC and we basically close the book on this game, and we don't really ever plan to go live and stream Elden Ring in the future, or at least in the near future, I should say, right? After we do this and we are kind of like determining what our next variety game is going to be that we play on stream, very likely it's going to be Dark Souls 1 Remastered, but, as we are trying to figure out what to transition to, I had this thought in my head where I was like, it's been a minute since we have gotten the chance to kind of just do a little bit of like a watch party and enjoy checking out some anime. So I was thinking, maybe on like this next weekend, right? Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we could have a day where I kind of just go live and then we do like a watch party and we check out some anime that I have not yet watched before. The number one anime that I currently have on my list of things to watch that I actually am, looking forward to, that I'm excited to watch, is an anime movie that came out recently, and it's called Look Back. And I believe that it is sort of like this slice of life, sort of like a realistic story that focuses on the protagonist of, I believe, this like, I want to say she's maybe like a high school girl or something like that, maybe like a college student. I'm not entirely sure. But it's kind of like focusing on, I think, her life and focusing on potentially like her past, her present, and her future. I don't really know the exact details of the plot, but the one thing that I can say about the Look Back movie is I have heard so many incredibly positive reviews of that movie. I've heard so many good things that people have said, and so I really, really want to watch it because it sounds very, very interesting. So maybe we can do like a watch party where we take a look at that movie and see whether it's good or not. I have no doubt that it will be. Um, and then, if we have the time to check out other anime as well, we could try and find, an anime season that we could watch, like, maybe 12, 13 episodes long of an anime. Check that out on stream maybe. But yeah. I don't yet know 100% for certain, what the plan is going to be for sure next weekend, but that's kind of like some thoughts that I have, which I could potentially commit to if I wanted to, right? But yeah. I will say, one thing to mention is that I believe on Wednesday or Thursday of this week, there is going to be the brand new update for Wuthering Waves. And that's going to be pretty exciting, pretty interesting, and I'm looking forward to that. And so I think that on Friday, there is a very, very high chance that I stream Wuthering Waves. And then obviously we'll play Genshin as well, but Genshin is not really going to be that, packed with content. It's basically just going to be me doing my dailies and whatnot, right? So yeah. But after Friday, we will kind of have to figure out, okay, what do we want to do on Saturday? And then on Sunday, do we want to like still follow our typical routine where we play Genshin and Wuthering Waves, or do we want to mix it up? Do we want to watch some anime? Do we want to do some other games or activities? But yeah. In any case, chat, let's see here. So okay, here is what I want to do, right, chat? I have the Wikipedia page for Elden Ring here, open, and what I'm gonna do here is I want to search up, let me see here, Wandering Mausoleums. Perfect. There we go. So there are a total of 7 of these things that are located around the map. Now, the thing is, chat, I have actually basically duplicated some of my runes already at some of these different mausoleums that are around the map. But I think there are some mausoleums that I have not yet, been to, and I have not yet unlocked. But let me actually see here. Weeping Peninsula Bell in the western area, east of the isolated merchant shack. So I'm assuming it's here. Okay. So we need to basically travel all the way down to this like little island, this peninsula over here, and we need to find the Wandering Mausoleum there. Nice. Yeah, chat. You know what's kind of funny? So, after I ended my stream yesterday, right? After I basically, finished my gameplay, and I was like, okay, cool, we're done here. We have nothing else left to do, right? After that happened, I kind of stayed up a little bit longer because I was watching Twitch streams and whatnot, and I remember I basically hopped onto Elden Ring again, and what I did, ow, that hurt. What I did was, I hopped onto the game, and I kind of just, I basically just went around, and I put my summoning sign around, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna put my summoning sign, and anyone who, wants to summon a person to help them in battle, they can do so, right? And so, yeah, like, after I ended stream, I think there was maybe about, I want to say, like, maybe 3 or 4 people that ended up summoning me, to help them with, their boss fights. And I think, like, let me see, who was it that we fought against? I know for a fact that I fought against, Bale. I think I fought against Bale, like, maybe 2 times or something like that. And, alongside Bale, there was also, who was there? I did fight against, Radagon, right? Promise Consort Radagon. I fought against him at least once, right? Yeah, so I fought against him at least once. There was also a fight that I did, let me see. So I fought Bale, I fought Radagon. Was there anyone else in DLC that I fought? Thinking. Oh, that's right. I did a fight against, what's his name? Commander Gaius. That's right. So Commander Gaius, the boar rider, I fought against him. And that fight that, we ended up doing against Commander Gaius, oh my lord, it was a massive pain in the ass. But I will say that, it was much more manageable with an entire group of people, rather than, kind of just trying to tackle it solo, right? Yeah, I think it was a lot better, having multiple people kind of being able to, like, distract the boss and kind of just making sure that everybody was able to survive and that basically everyone got the opportunity to, smack him and deal significant damage, right? Yeah. So, we all fought against Commander Gaius. We defeated him. There were actually multiple different, multiple attempts against like certain bosses and whatnot, where unfortunately, you know, I think most of the time what happened was I'm pretty sure that the host of the you know, co-op session, they ended up dying to the boss, and they ended up, you know, because they died, the co-op you know, the co-op session kind of just came to a grinding halt, and you know, everyone was sent back to their own worlds, right? Um, but yeah, there was like maybe, I want to say, 2 or 3 battles that I did offline where me and the other people in co-op, we were successful, and we beat the boss and we won, and it was a very very celebratory occasion, right? It was very very cool. But yeah, no, so I did that a little bit offline, and I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Um, and then yeah, like, you know, after that I kind of logged off the game, and I decided to go to bed because at that point in time it was like, I think 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning, and I was like, yeah, this is not healthy for me to, you know, stay awake for too long. So yeah, but I will say it was quite enjoyable getting to re-experience some of the fights, and you know, instead of me being the host trying to like stay alive and trying to, you know, lead the other co-op people, I think it was nice being just a participant that, you know, I obviously did try to perform my best, and I tried to deal as much damage as I possibly could, but it wasn't like I was the main like source of damage. I was not like the main party leader or whatever, right? And I think that was nice to not have that pressure, you know, hanging over my head in a way, right? Okay, let's see here, chat. We gotta take down this big giant mausoleum here. Okay, I think I need to get maybe to the other side of this guy. Oh, is he dropping down? I think he's finally dropping down, chat. There we go. I thought maybe I needed to go to the other side and hit the other 2 legs a little bit, but it looks like we made it. Okay, very, very nice, chat. Okay, so we have the option of duplicating, you know, any of these remembrances that we have here. Now, you guys can take a look. I'll show you right here. So I have 1 copy of the Dancing Lion Remembrance. I have 2 of Rilana, right? I have 1 of the Putrescence Knight. I have 1 of the, you know, Boar Rider, aka Gaius, right? I have 1 of the Sunflower. I have 1 of the, basically the boss known as Romina, Saint of the Bud, right? I have 1 of Midra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. 1 of the Mother of Fingers. 1, or I have 2 of Mesmer, the Impaler. And I have 2 of Promised Consort Radon, right? So I can actually take a look here at the wiki page, and I'm gonna pull it up right now. But I think, let me see here. I think that there are certain remembrances that I think are a little bit more valuable compared to others, and I think that they are much more worthwhile of duplicating, right? So let me see here. Sorry, I'm currently like scrolling through Discord, just making sure that I'm not missing any like messages or anything like that. Okay. So let me take a look here at the wiki page. Okay. So Dancing Lion, there is a talisman and an Ash of War that we can get. And so I think that getting both of those is very valuable. I think that Dancing Lion is a remembrance that we want to duplicate, right? Rolana, we already have two of her remembrance, right? So we don't need to really get a third one, to be completely honest. I think we can chill. Looking at the Putrescence Knight, there is a sorcery, which I think we do want to get, and then there is a weapon, which is called the Putrescence Cleaver. And this weapon, it is a great axe. I'm gonna be completely honest here. I do not play the game using great axes. I think that great axes, in my opinion, are not really a weapon that I enjoy, that I have fun with. They are kind of just a weapon where, you know, if it is a unique great axe, I will obtain it for collection purposes, but not really because I like the weapon or because I want to use the weapon. You know what I mean? Um, it's more so just like, oh, it's a special weapon. I'm going to get it just to add it to my inventory, just so I can, have it available to showcase, right? So the Putrescence Knight, in terms of priority for duplicating the Remembrance, I think it's quite low on the list, right? We have Gaius, the Wild Boar Rider, who has a Sword Lance and a Sorcery. Now, the Sword Lance that he has, it is I believe it is a great, yeah, so it's a heavy thrusting sword is what the category is. And normally speaking, right? Um Normally speaking, I typically do not really play thrusting sword weapons, nor do I play heavy thrusting sword weapons, right? I find that the playstyle of thrusting sword weapons, right, of both categories, they are not very enjoyable, not very fun to me, right? However, with that being said, I think that my experience fighting against Radahn, against Promet's consort Radahn, it made me appreciate thrusting weapons a lot more than I used to. And so I think that duplicating Gaius's remembrance is pretty high on the list of priority. I think it's a remembrance where we do want to get both the weapon and the sorcery that is available. Um, so yeah, that one alongside the Dancing Lion, those are two remembrances that we for sure want to duplicate, right? Um, Remembrance of the Shadow Sunflower. So this is the sunflower boss that is basically like the guardian of the Scadu tree, right? There is a weapon and an incantation. The incantation we definitely want to get. The weapon, though, let me see here. It is a colossal weapon. Okay. I do not use colossal weapons. And, in terms of how colossal weapons typically work, they are usually known to scale off of strength primarily. And so, sorry, chat. I'm currently responding to a message in Discord here very quickly. Same. Cool. Awesome. Um, so anyways, as I was saying, they like colossal weapons typically scale off of strength. And this weapon right here, it says here, the Shadow Sunflower Blossom scales primarily with strength, dexterity, and faith. Um, since my build that I am currently using is definitely not strength oriented, I basically do not really care that much about this weapon. And the thing is, um even if hypothetically I did have a build where it was built on strength, dex, and faith, which could allow me to utilize this weapon quite well, I don't really enjoy the playstyle of colossal weapons. If I'm gonna be honest, when playing a Souls game, I typically really, really love and appreciate weapons that are usually smaller and faster, right? I like weapons that are really, really quick and rapid and are, very, very agile, very nimble, right? I don't like the big, heavy, massive weapons that you take and you swing it like a giant hammer and you hit enemies with it. Because to me, those weapons, even though they are powerful, the fact that they are so extremely slow makes it to where I really hate the feeling of using them in combat, right? Um, so yeah, I'm not really a big fan of colossal weapons, and therefore the sunflower remembrance is going to be a low priority, right? Mesmer, we already have two of them. We have both of the you know both copies, both duplicates of the remembrance. Okay. Romina, Saint of the Bud. So there's a weapon which is a pole blade, right? Which, I'm gonna be completely honest. I think that pole blades are actually a type of weapon that I may potentially enjoy. It says here the pole blade of the Bud is a halberd, right? Scales primarily with strength, dexterity, and arcane. So that is a perfect, kind of complement for my build. Let me take a look here. Purification. Yeah, so here's what I will say about this weapon, right? Specifically about the halberd category of weapons, right? I think that halberds in Elden Ring and in Souls games, right? They are not terrible, right? Like I don't really hate them, but they're also not really my like favorite type of weapon. They're not really my favorite category, you know? And I think I have a couple of different halberds in my inventory that I have like leveled up and I've kept just in case I want to use them. But I have never really found, a situation where the halberd weapons are more fun or more enjoyable to use um, against like bosses or against open world enemies or whatever compared to other weapon types, right? So I think that in general, halberds for me are kind of like, you know, if you were to have a list of all the different types of weapons and you were to rank them in terms of how much I like them, I think that halberds would very likely be in the dead middle. They would be in the dead center of the list, right? So let's say that hypothetically you were ranking them and you had like S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, F tier, right? I think that they would probably be around C tier or maybe low B tier if I wanted to be generous, if I wanted to be, optimistic, right? But with the Saint of the Bud remembrance, we have the pole blade of the Bud, right? So we have the halberd weapon, and we have an incantation, which I absolutely do want to get that incantation without a doubt, right? So, Saints of the Bud, I think this is one where it's not the highest priority for duplication, but it is kind of up there, right? Alongside Gaius, and alongside the Dancing Lion, right? Um, Remembrance of the Mother of Fingers. So we've got the Staff of the Great Beyond, and we've also got Weapon Gazing Finger. Glintstone Staff, Colossal Weapon. Okay, so for this one, this is a pretty simple and easy one for me. TLDR, the remembrance for the Mother of Fingers, aka Matir, right? Um, that is going to be a low priority for me because basically the main thing that I care about from this remembrance is the Staff of the Great Beyond. And I don't really care that much about the Gazing Finger, right, which is a colossal weapon. So I think that we can leave the Mother of Fingers for the next new game cycle. We don't have to worry about duplicating it right now in New Game Plus 7, right? We have good old Midra, the Lord of Frenzied Flame. He's got a Great Sword of Damnation, and he's also got an incantation called the Flame of Frenzy. Um, this one is a great sword, of course, as the name very obviously explains. Um, okay. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think I really care about this weapon that much, right? But I will say that, compared to something like colossal weapons, I think that great swords are a little bit better, a little bit, less, a little bit less, I guess, I don't know what the right, like, adjective is, the right description is. Basically, I think that great swords are, more tolerable and a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun, a little bit more enjoyable to play compared to something like a colossal weapon or like a great axe or other massive giant weapon that you kind of just bonk enemies with, right? So you know I don't hate great swords, but I also don't love them either. I think that, okay, if I were to compare great swords with halberds, I think that halberds are probably slightly above great swords in terms of like, how much I am interested in them, how much I care about them, how much I would want to use them in combat. I think that great swords are a little bit lower on the ranking, a little bit lower on the tier list of how good how good they are as a weapon category, right? But the incantation, we absolutely want to get that one without a doubt. So I think Midra's remembrance, it's not really high priority, but it's also not the lowest priority. It's kind of like in the middle there in terms of what we might want to duplicate, right? And then last but not least, we have the remembrance of Radon, right? Promise Consort Radon. Um, this one, we get a great sword, and we also get a an incantation, right? Um, I don't really care that much about Radon's weapon. I don't really care about this particular remembrance weapon at all. Um, but there might be a chance that there might be a chance that like in the future, right? We may potentially want to try it out. We may want to use it just for fun, right? But yeah, it says that like these the sword right here, the Great Sword of Radon, it is a colossal sword basically, and I don't particularly love colossal weapons, colossal swords or any other colossal weapon out there, but it's not really the worst weapon category that I hate out there. Um, but yeah. Let me see here. Okay. So here is what I think we do, chat. Here's what I think we do. So I think that, let me see. I think that here, let's go ahead and duplicate the dancing lion, because that was like, you know, kind of the first remembrance where we were like, yeah, we want both of the items, both of the, you know, rare special, you know, um, uh, like exchanges, you know what I mean? So let's go ahead and duplicate this. There we go. So now this mausoleum here is completely done with. And then we can go over to the next location here. Let's see here. Liurnia of the Lakes, northeast of the Raya Lucaria Academy. Let me see here. I think we have already gotten this mausoleum over here, chat. I'm like 99% sure that we have. Let me travel over here. Because basically there are two different mausoleums in this area over here. And I believe that both of them we have gotten them. Let me take a look. Oh, I didn't even realize that I fell down there. What the hell? Okay, I don't know why I'm like moving towards the wrong direction. I thought for a second there that I was going towards the mausoleum, but it appears I was wrong. So it's this way, right? Hold on. No, it's that way. Yeah, it's that way. Okay, so we did knock down this mausoleum, and I do believe that we have already utilized it. Oh, wait, no, we haven't. Oh, okay, okay. So let's see, chat. Let me take a look at the list here. We've got... So we got the dancing lion. We can knock that off of our list. Rolano, we already have 2 of. Putrescence, I don't really care about that much. Wild Boar Rider. I think that one is the next one that we probably want to duplicate here. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, this mausoleum is done here. And then, let me, okay. Let me go over here, chat. And I'm gonna go and travel towards the location of the other, Liurnia mausoleum. I think it is this way. Come on, Torrent, I believe in you. Oh, there's a Knights Cavalry. I didn't even realize there was one around here. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I, didn't realize that, you know, I completely forgot it was nighttime, and I also completely forgot that there was a Knights Cavalry that could appear over here, you know? So is he just chilling over there? It looks like he is. Okay. That's fine. We don't really need to fight him, because I honestly don't think that he really drops anything that valuable, chat. So I'm pretty sure we're just chilling. We're resting, you know? Okay. Let's see here, chat. Alright. So, as you can see here, this mausoleum, we've already knocked it down. I'm pretty sure we have already duplicated here. Yep. Okay, we have duplicated here because there's no prompt, you know, appearing for us to duplicate anything. Let's go and see where the next location is. Oh, due north. Okay. So, basically up here. Due north of the mausoleum compound, Grace. I swear I've already gotten this one. I could be wrong. So, was this the one that we've already been to, chat? What the? Oh, wow. Oh, chat, we didn't go to this one yet. Okay. Alright. So then let's see what the next place is. Okay, so we did the Boar Rider. We have both of those. Don't really care about the Sunflower. Mesmer, we already duplicated. Saint of the Bud, I think, is the next one that we want to duplicate. Okay. Yep, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so we're done with that, chat. Now, let's go to outside of Castle Sol. I believe this one I have already duplicated, so I'm pretty sure we don't need to, you know, don't need to attack this one anymore. Yep, as you can see, we have no prompt here, so we already duplicated. Apostate Derelict, okay. So it's all the way up here. I'm like 99% sure we've already done this one as well, chat. Because if it's like sitting down like this and it's not moving around at all, not firing missiles. Yeah, okay, we've already used this one. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so I think the last one in the base game is in the Deep-Root Depths over here. And I believe... Let's check this side of Grace. I believe it is like kind of north or like northwest of this side of Grace here. Okay. Did I already duplicate here? I did not. Okay, okay, so this is good to know. Let me see here. Is there any other remembrance that I really want to duplicate? I suppose Midra's is probably the last one that we really, like, I suppose, care about. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think Midra's is like the only one that we really care about getting you know, duplicates for. The rest of them are kind of just meh. They're kind of not really that valuable, not really that important. Um so yeah, let me see here. Boom. Boom. There we go. Awesome sauce. So that should be all 7, I believe, all 7 of the Wandering Mausoleums. So now what we're gonna do, chat, is I'm actually going to teleport to the round table hold here. And we're gonna go to the good old remembrance area here. Let's see. Boom. Receive power from remembrance. Okay. So I'm gonna do this. Raise potency of storms, grants affinities and skills to an armament. Okay. So we're gonna take this one. There we go. And then we're gonna take this one. There we go. Very nice. Okay. Then we have Rilana. There we go. And then there we go. Alright. Let's see here. So, Remembrance of the Putrescence. We definitely want to get the Vortex of Putrescence as the higher priority here, the sorcery, right? The weapon here we don't really care about that much, so we can leave that for New Game Plus 8 or New Game Plus 9 or whatever, right? There we go. Okay. Let's see. Remembrance of the Wild Boar Rider. So I'm going to take this one, and we're going to take this one. Okay. Remembrance of the Shadow Sunflower. We want to take the Land of Shadow Incantation. Okay, and then we have Saint of the Bud. There we go. And there we go. Okay. And then Lord of Frenzied Flame. Gonna take this one. And we're gonna take this one. Mother of Fingers. We want the Glintstone Staff. We don't give a shit about the Colossal Weapon. There we go. And then Mesmer. We're gonna take both of these. Perfect. Okay. Oh, wow. So, interesting. It looks like here, Radon has 3 different items. Okay. Okay. Very cool. So, what that means is we should go to... Let me see here. I'm gonna go to way up here, chat. Basically what I did is offline, I went to go and find out where all of the different, the tombs were located for the duplication, and I marked them on my map so that I could find them later. And so we are gonna be going to, like, basically the duplication, grave or tombstone that is the furthest north. And the reason why I'm picking this one is because, I think that out of the 3 different locations, this one is the most, I would describe it as probably the most, annoying location to travel to, if I were to, you know, basically categorize it, right? I will say at nighttime, things get very, very creepily dark around here, especially with the fog. And I am not a fan of that at all. What? How did you jump through that? That's so weird how they can iframe through that attack. Very, very bizarre. Okay. I think we should be safe. I don't think that those guys are going to aggro onto us. Alright. Time to duplicate. So we need one of Radahn's remembrance here. Perfect. Awesome. And now we can't activate that anymore. So I'm gonna... Actually, no. You know what? I'm gonna keep that marker on the map. I'm gonna leave it there. Let's see here. So we have basically, two more remembrance, like, duplication places that we can, you know, utilize, right? Before we go into the next new game cycle. So I think, like, if we want to, first of all, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my trusty old lantern here, because I can't see a goddamn thing. I think for these remaining two, like, remembrance gravestones or tombstones or whatever the heck that they are, I think I'm just going to, I'm gonna choose to duplicate, you know, some of the other, like, remembrances that we did not already duplicate that are kind of like, you know, maybe we possibly want, all of the different items, you know? Alright, perfect. We made it. I don't think that there's any enemies around me that are gonna attack, so we should be fine. Let's see here. Let me take a look at the list here on the Wikipedia page. I want to see, like, what is the item that we did not already exchange that, like, I would want the most out of the remaining, you know, remembrances, right? So we have the cleaver, the putrescence cleaver. That one I don't really care that much about. The Shadow Sunflower Blossom, also don't really give a shit about that. Gazing Finger, don't really care about that. Hmm. Okay. So, let me see here. Okay. We basically have three different weapons here. We have a Great Axe, we have a Colossal Weapon, and we have a... Oh, we have two Colossal Weapons. Okay, one of them is the Sunflower Blossom, the other one is the Gazing Finger. You know, chat, I think... Hmm... Let me take a look here. BED. This one is CDE. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I don't really know, chat. Okay. So I think, you know, we have these three weapons that I personally don't really give a shit about, but, you know, they are the ones remaining left that we have not yet exchanged. Um, so I think what we do is we take the Putrescence Cleaver, since it's a great axe, and I'm a little bit more likely to use a great axe than I am a colossal weapon. So we'll go ahead and duplicate this one. There we go. And then I believe we have one more location, right? So I get to choose either I want to get the Sunflower Blossom or I want to get the Gazing Finger. Let's go this way forward. And then... there we go. I don't like this guy over here. There we go. Get rid of him. He looks a little bit suspicious, like he might aggro onto me at any time. Alright. So, let me see here. We've got the Shadow Sunflower Blossom. Scales with Strength, Dexterity, and Faith. DED. And then we've got the Gazing Finger. Strength, Intelligence, and Faith rather than Dexterity. It lets you slam the weapon down and cause a holy explosion. Let me take a look at these particular abilities here, chat. Let me see. So first, we've got Shadow Sunflower Headbutt. Huh. Okay. Slams down the weapon, sending out a powerful shockwave that can be followed up by 2 more attacks. Okay. Oh, wow. Wait a second. I like that one a little bit more. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So yeah, the weapon skill on the Gazing Finger, it basically like slams the weapon into the ground, and then what it does is it sends out like this shockwave of damage. And so I don't think that it is as, you know, widespread and as powerful as something like the Elden Ring, you know, remembrance weapon, or not Elden Ring, but Elden Beast remembrance weapon, right? The sacred holy sword, right? I don't think it's as powerful as that, but I think the sort of like shockwave that it sends outwards towards enemies, I think that could be pretty useful, and it's kind of like a miniature version of, you know, the sacred holy swords Ash of War, right? So yeah, I think looking at, you know, these two particular weapons and considering their different abilities, different capabilities, I think we probably go for the Gazing Finger. I think that's what we do, chat. Even though we probably will never use it and we don't really care about it, I think we can, you know, go ahead and duplicate that and just take it for collection purposes, you know? So yeah, let me go ahead and duplicate that. Perfect. Okay. And so now, I'm pretty sure that we have gone to every single Wandering Mausoleum, and we have duplicated all of the runes that we want to duplicate, right? Let me actually see here. Oh, wait. I went to the wrong area. I went to... Bless his heart. I went to Blacksmith Hugh, the legend. In fact, I needed to go here instead. Okay, so... Let's see. We take the Putrescence Cleaver. We take the... what is this? The Gazing Finger. And then here, we're going to take all three of these. We've got the Light of Mikola, an incantation. Okay, we've got the Great Sword of Radon, light. Very cool. And then what else do we have here? Great Sword of Radon, Lord, Promised Consort. Wow, okay. I'm actually quite impressed that basically Radon has 3 different items that you are able to exchange for. I think that's pretty badass. All right. Very, very cool stuff. So we have already done that. And what I think we can do now, chat, is... Let me see here. Let me go to inventory. Oh, wait. I think it's in my, my chest. So we get a chest. Let's see here. Wait. There we are. All of these ones. Okay. Yeah. Meh. Honestly, chat, I'm kind of thinking to myself that I might just go ahead and I might sell all of these remembrances, because I basically already, you know, exchanged for all of the abilities, all of the cool things that these bosses offer with their remembrance. So I don't really care that much about exchanging more of them. But the thing is that, like, basically, I think to myself, if I exchange these, you know, items here, if I, you know, kind of, like, sell them for runes, what happens if, like, I potentially accidentally lose my runes in the future? You know, if I die and I am unable to retrieve the runes, you know? So, I think, I guess for now, I'll just leave it in my inventory, just sort of like as a backup source of runes in case I need it. But yeah. In any case, chat, what we're gonna do now is we have completely, you know, finished exchanging all of the different remembrances. We now have the task ahead of us of going to defeat the final boss of the base game, that being Mr. Radon and the Elden Beast, right? I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. There we go. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that. Perfect. Awesome. All right, chat. Here we go. I do want to go ahead and put this disclaimer out there, just tell you guys about this right now. As you can see, the death counter in the top left side of the screen shows 726. I will continue to update the death counter as I, you know, tackle this boss, as I fight this boss. So, you know, I will continue adding more numbers to that amount. But in terms of, like, Elden Ring DLC, right, Shadow of the Erdtree, the number that we have to remember is 726. That is how many deaths that we've had, roughly, from the DLC, right? Not counting the base game. But yeah. In any case, chat, here's what we're going to do. Let's prepare for this fight, shall we? So equipment, we're going to get rid of these. I'm going to do... Let's see here. Let's do... I think that's not a bad idea. Okay, where is my good old blasphemous blade? There we go. I'm gonna also take my my beloved Godskin Peeler. Love this weapon to death. Okay. Let's see here. Do. So, we want to do this one. We want to do this one. What else do we want to do? Suppose this one's not terrible. Actually, you know what? We need to do this one. And then it's another good damage boosting one. This might not be a bad one at all. Let's see. This might not be a bad one. Raising Faith. Yeah, that might not be a bad one at all. Okay. Alright. And then let me make sure that my spells and everything are right. So we're gonna go to, first of all, flasks, allocate. Let's do... Wait, hold on. 10-4? 10-4 is not terrible, I think. We could do 12-2, but I think that one is a little bit risky. So I'm gonna do 10-4. Memorize spell. I think we should be okay, chat. I think we should be fine. Wondrous Physic. Let's see here. Let's go for, I guess, a little bit more offensive of a build here. Let's go for... Go for this one, maybe. That should work. Because I think, honestly, dealing with phase 1 is something that I want to... I want to, like, get it out of the way as fast as possible. And, you know, I feel like, yeah, I feel like taking that mixture in the physic would be, like, our best opportunity. Very, very likely. Okay. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I'm heavy load right now. Ooh. That is not great. Okay, what if I take away that one, and then instead I do this one? Much better. Much better indeed. Okay. Alright, chat. Here goes nothing. Let me go ahead and inventory. Use. Okay. Ooh. Wow. Ooh, okay. I had the wrong flask out. I completely messed that one up. Okay. I'm actually quite surprised that Radagon still hits very, very, very hard. You know, even with the amount of like protection that I have, he was still hitting me for quite a lot of damage there. Which I mean is not super duper surprising considering New Game Plus 7, right? But still, I did not really think that it would. I didn't really think that it would be like over half my HP bar or anything like that, you know? Ow. Ow. Fuck. Ow. He got me on that one. My god, why am I rolling early, chat? How is that hitting me? Wow. Okay. Oh, wait, did I forget to drink my flask? Oh, no wonder. Ooh, okay. Alright. I think that was a pretty good second attempt there, right? I think that me forgetting to drink my flask probably did have an effect there. Let me take a look. So, inventory, use... Dude. What a terrible first attempt. Every single time that I attempted to, you know, utilize my Ash of War, he basically staggered me out of it. And because I spent, like, the first, I would say, first, like, 10 to 15 seconds minimum going to find my runes, I missed out on good damage opportunities there. So, yeah, that was definitely a very, very garbage attempt right there. Alright. I just need to continuously remember to use my, you know, physic, right? How does that reach? Jesus Christ. I rolled that too early. Why are my rolls so bad? What? How did I not roll out of that? Whoa! Whoa, 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 whoa. What? Do I need to jump that attack? I actually thought that you could always roll backwards. But man, it's been a minute since I have fought Radagon, since I've actually done this battle, you know? I completely forgot, you know, the sort of recommended dodges and the recommended blocks and stuff like that, right? Alright, let's keep going, chat. What? No way. Oh, that's so garbage. Really? Fuck off, dude. What? Hello? Yeah. I rolled that way too late. Way too late. I don't know why. Okay. Oh man, I keep forgetting that you're not supposed to roll backwards on that one. Ow, I got hit by that. I'm dead. Fuck off. There's no way you grabbed me from that. That's bullshit, man. Absolutely bullshit that he grabbed me from that. I think one of the annoying things about that grab is I'm pretty sure that the only way you can consistently dodge that grab without like a single tiny percentage of probability that it grabs you is if you're light rolling. You know, if you have a low equip load and you don't have like a lot of armor on, you're not medium rolling, medium load, then you can basically dodge that grab like 100% of the time. But I think if you are not light load, it is basically impossible to, you know, what? Fuck off. Fuck you. Yeah. There was this one attack that he did at the very beginning where I think I rolled into him, right? And I swear on my life that my timing was perfect and that I should have iframed through any hit that he did. But for some reason, he still managed to deal damage to me, even though I rolled. And it was just like, yeah, I don't exactly know what happened. I'll have to like go back and rewatch it if I want to figure it out. But it's like, yeah, it felt like, you know, it felt like a bug. It felt like it wasn't supposed to happen at all. What? Fuck you and your delayed hits. What the fuck was that, man? Oh my god, there's like no way that that fucking hit me from behind. That's absolutely dog shit. Holy moly. Okay, I think honestly, the like strategy of attempting to maybe like deal some like regular hits against him, some like physical damage using R1. I don't think that it is, you know, the right strategy. Fuck you for interrupting that. Why am I early rolling that? I don't understand. Fuck you, dude. 2 in a row? Really? What? No way! No fucking way, dude. So, I don't really understand that attack, in all honesty, because I feel like that attack, if you look at it visually, it looks like an attack that you should be able to jump. It looks like something where you should be able to have your character leap into the air and avoid the damage, because it's basically a ground slam. But then, instead of it only attacking the ground, the attack also, for some reason, hits you midair. Where it's like, I don't think that that is intended. I don't think that that is how the attack is supposed to work at all. It just feels so dog shit. I don't know. Fuck off. I rolled into that. What? What the fuck, dude? How? How the fuck did those clip me? I'm so confused right now. Because I could have sworn that the distance, you know, between me and him was far enough away to where his, like, tiny little fucking hammer could not reach me. I'm so confused how that ended up clipping me at all. It made no sense. Yeah, this is very bizarre. Very weird. I don't like it. I think, honestly, the strategy is I probably need to find every little tiny opportunity that I can to activate the weapon art, right? Fuck you. Fuck. Fuck. Stop it with the multi-hit combo, you piece of shit. What? You piece of fucking garbage. Fuck off. No, you fucking did not hit me with that. Come on. There we go. All right. What's up, big boy? How goes it? Wait. What the fuck am I doing? Okay. What's up, big boy? I'm dead. Fuck me. Yeah, I'm dead. God damn it. I should not have gotten in front of the boss there. I should not have stood in front of the boss. I think I should have tried to go behind the boss and do a hit there. That was a really, really good attempt, though. I think in terms of, like, you know, how close we were to getting the win, I think it was a really, really good attempt. Okay. Swap weapons. Okay. Make sure everything is good to go. We're going to drink this. I fucking hate the cutscene that plays. I hate this cutscene a lot. I think this cutscene is garbage. Fuck you. What? How was I close? Yeah. You know, chat, for some reason, I'm not sure what the cause is behind this, but like there are some times where, you know, I end up dying, I end up failing, and you know, my character resets, and I have to add a death to the death counter. And for some reason, sometimes my brain will basically be like, "Oh, hey, you want to click one of these other buttons on the stream deck, right?" And so like my you know, when I reach over, my hand will for a very quick second, it'll be like, "Oh, do you want to press the button to change scenes or to do something else?" And it's like, "No, I don't. I want to fucking press the button to, you know, increase the death counter." And so, yeah, it's like basically my muscle memory is just not there in terms of ow. In terms of, like, remembering what to do, right? Fuck you. There we go. Oh, wrong summon, for fuck's sake. Alright. Let me get behind it. What? I am not losing my life here. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Fuck you. Okay. Tish, I need you to help somehow. I need you to help somehow, Tish. Nope. I'm dead. Yeah, for fuck's sake. Niche, you were a somewhat fine companion. I'm fucking so dead here. Oh, fuck off. Are you gonna quit running? Really? I'm trying to find a good opportunity to attack this damn thing, but it's not giving me one. Ow. There we go. There we fucking go, chat. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, baby. Elden Remembrance. Okay. Ooh, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Alright, chat. Well, there's the final boss of the entire game. There we go, chat. That was one hell of a fight. He kept on running away quite a lot. And, you know, chat, so one thing that, I did not utilize this at all whenever I fought him, but it was something that I basically discovered. I saw this when I was watching a VOD of Giguk, aka Gart, right? If you don't know who that is, he is a very, very prominent, very famous, very well-known anime YouTuber. Giga did, a playthrough of Elden Ring, and I remember I watched a VOD where he fought against, Radagon and Elden Beast, right? And I noticed something which I thought was like really weird, really strange. And I was like, whoa, when the hell did this happen? Right? Basically, what I noticed was that, so apparently the developers of Elden Ring from Software, they made a change. And so now in the Elden Beast boss fight, when you're fighting against the final boss of the game, you are able to summon Torrent, and you are able to use Torrent to move around the area, right? That is something that I think is like, a massive major, you know, feature. It is a kind of like ability that players should have been given from the very beginning, right? Like that should have been already introduced into the game when the game first released, right? And I think that, the developers finally, adding that ability, adding that feature into the game where you can fight Elden Beast and you can ride Torrent to get around, basically move around the boss, arena. I think that that is, very good, obviously. Like, I'm very glad that the developers finally, they basically were like, okay, fine, we understand that players are, not particularly happy with the lack of torrent and whatever. Um, so I think that it's good that the developers have done this, without a doubt. I'm, very glad that they basically decided to take it a little bit easier on players who are kind of new to the game, new to Elden Ring, right? Um, so that's great. But the one thing that I will say, this is gonna sound a little bit strange. It's gonna sound kind of bizarre, right? But the one thing that I will say about, being able to use torrent in that particular boss fight, right? I think that, so many different veteran players of Elden Ring, such as myself, we have been using our regular like hands and legs and whatever to fight the boss. We've been fighting the boss without the ability to use torrent and to move around the arena very easily and very quickly. And so, because of how, familiar that we are to using our hands and legs to tackle this boss fight, I think that now the introduction of Torrent kind of is a little bit useless. It's a little bit pointless because, I remember I was watching Giguk, I was watching Garnt do the boss fight against Elden Beast, and he was attempting to use torrents. He was attempting to, move around the arena optimally and very quickly, right? But he kept on struggling, right? He kept on having trouble with basically with ensuring that he does not get hit, and that he does not take significant damage while he is on torrent. Because, if you are not careful, right, using torrent, it can be a little bit of a detriment. And what that means is that, like, torrents can make it to where if you get hit by an attack, because torrent gets staggered, right, you end up getting staggered in a single hit. And if, let's say that the attack that is being used, if it ends up killing Torrent, then you will get knocked off of Torrent, right? Torrent will disappear, and you will fall to the ground, and there is a length of time where you are basically recovering from that fall. And during that length of time when you are recovering from that fall, you are completely vulnerable, right? Like, it is 100% possible for you to get hit and to lose a shitload of HP if the attacks that you get hit by are extremely powerful, right? So, I noticed, I observed that Gart was having a lot of trouble using Torrent optimally against this boss fight. And I don't blame him. I don't think that he did anything wrong. But I think that, like, basically the fact that the developers did not allow Torrent to be used when the game first came out, right? I feel like that kind of made it to where nowadays, when you can use torrent, it is actually more tricky and more difficult to use him properly in the fight rather than just simply running around on your own two legs, right? Um, which kind of sounds backwards and it doesn't sound logical, but that's the way that it sort of is, you know? And yeah, I just feel like, I'm glad that the developers added it, but I really, really wish that it had been an option when the game first released, because like one of the one of the results of that, one of the kind of like benefits of having torrent available when the game first released is that players who fought against Elden Beast when the game first was available to play, they could have potentially utilized torrent and learned how to optimally use torrent against Elden Beast to dodge attacks and to avoid damage and survive and kill the boss quickly. And then those players that learned to basically master the utilization of torrent in that fight, they could have then taught other people how to do it, and other people could have learned, from those first people, right? And so it would have had this ripple effect where people are learning from one another how to properly utilize torrent. Now, that would have been ideal. That would have been optimal. But in this day and age, what we basically have is now we have like a group of people who have played Elden Ring before, who are veterans of the game, and basically um, they never had like the chance to utilize torrent. They didn't have the option, and so because of that, they only ever fought Elden Beast on foot, right? And so those people, they basically, you know, what's it called? They basically believe that fighting Elden Beast on foot is the more optimal, the more efficient way to fight. Um, and they believe that it is just a lot more simpler and easier of a fight, since they're so used to it, since they're so familiar with it, compared to attempting to try and learn how to utilize torrent properly, right? And learn the timings and whatever, right? Because yeah, it's kind of like that saying goes, right? Where it's like, you know, if something is not broken, right? If something still works and is still functional and is still successful, right? Why would you replace it? Why would you try to fix it? Why would you try to come up with a replacement strategy or idea or whatever? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, yeah. And so that actually, while we're on this topic, that actually brings up something very, very important here. I'm actually going to see if I can find it. I don't know if it's on YouTube, so let me take a look at this. Let me see here. Uh I don't think this is his VOD channel. Yeah, it's not. Okay. Let me see here. Is this it? I think this might be it, chat. Hold on, give me a quick second. Okay, I'm scrubbing through this video right now, trying to find the right moment to start it. Okay, so I think it's like right about here. Right about here. All right. So chat, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take a look here at this is a Twitch VOD of Giguk, also known as Garnt, right? Twitch VOD of Mr. Garnt here, Mr. Giguk. He is playing Elden Ring, and he is fighting against the final boss fight, also known as Radagon slash Elden Beast, right? So I'm gonna pull up my OBS here. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. There we go. Perfect. And then I'm going to move my OBS to the other screen temporarily. Perfect. And then we're going to do this, and we are going to... All right, I think everything is good to go. I think we should be good to go here. All right. So, chat, let me give you a little bit of background context here. You know, if you take a look at this video here, it's a little bit hard to see because it's like down in the bottom corner, but I'll tell it to you guys, right? This particular VOD right here, this video right here is 4 hours and 33 minutes long. And if we, let me see here. If we take a look, okay, so right about at like the 1 hour and 30-minute mark. Yeah, like 1 hour 31-minute mark, right? Giguk, or Garnt, he basically starts fighting the final boss of the game for the first time. So 1 hour and 30 minutes, all the way until basically 4 hours and 30 minutes. So about 3 hours roughly of time that he has spent fighting this boss, right? So what we're going to be watching here, I believe that this is his last final attempt that he does. And after he does this attempt here, he talks to his chat, he talks to his stream about, you know, basically his thought process and kind of some opinions, some you know, ideas that he has in his head that he wants to, you know, discuss with his viewers, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to watch the last attempt that he does, and then we're going to like listen to what he has to say, and we're going to, you know, listen to his you know, after his like kind of I don't know. I think speech is a little bit too grand of a word to use, but like listen to his little like dialogue, his little monologue that he has after this attempt, and you know, I think that what happens here, what he says here is I think it's quite interesting. It's quite important, and it's something that I wanted to take a moment to share and to talk about. So let's see what ends up happening here, okay?
Okay, let's see how far we got.
I will say, Giguk or Garnt got really good at doing a parry build against Radagon. and I was very, very impressed with his progress that he made. He actually made it into a thing that was completely doable, right?
Shit. Stagger for that? Oh my god.
My dude is literally locked in. He is cooking.
Oh, so close to the no hit. So close to no hit. Oh.
Ooh, yikes. He did get hit there. Oof. Painful. He can recover, though.
Wow.
Ooh, one hit away.
Awesome.
Good heal. Yup, yup. Smack him.
Yeah, like that.
Ooh, dude, this is very unlucky right here. There you go. Alright, so let's see how he does against Elden Beast. Let's see, you know, how lucky he gets.
That would have been so BM if he finished me off, man. That would have been so BM. Alright, we're not going to do Mimic. Let's just see how far we get.
Not doing Mimics here, okay. That's fair. Totally fair. I don't think Giga really learned about that first attack, that Fire Breath attack. If he had learned about it, he would have known to immediately go behind the Elden Beast. And him rolling here to outmaneuver the needles, not very optimal, not very smart.
Oh, block this fucking shit.
This is the reason why I personally feel like attempting to, you know, melee Elden Beast is a horrible idea. If you do not use a like long range weapon or a weapon that has a very special weapon art against Elden Beast, you are kind of making it way more difficult for yourself to fight, in my opinion. That is probably one of the most garbage attacks.
Oh my god, what the fuck is that?
There comes the needles. Literally all he needs to do is just run to the side. Doesn't need a roll. In fact, rolling actually makes it a lot more troublesome because you're unable to properly dodge those attacks, those holy slashes.
Come on, let's just get close. Can you let me get close, please?
Ooh, bad timing.
Ah! Ah, maybe I do have to use the horse.
Oh, no, nope, 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 nope. Not in that scenario. No. Yep. So, as you can see here, he tries to use Torrent at the very end. And, by the way, as I mentioned this before, in earlier versions of Elden Ring, like when the game first came out and when I played Elden Ring, like, I think basically all the way through new game, like regular base game, and then new game +1, all the way to like new game +6 or 7. I would say at the very least through new game +6, like me finishing new game +6, you are not allowed to summon Torrent. You are not allowed to use Torrent at all, right? And then only recently, I think within the last maybe like couple of you know, patch updates that they've done to the game, I think they added in the feature to you know, use Torrent in the Elden Beast boss fight, right? So he tried to use Torrent there, but it was really, really bad timing because this is like one of the big reasons why you maybe want to stay on foot rather than utilizing, Torrent to move around is because Torrent can be very easily staggered and killed. And then you are, vulnerable. You are, capable of losing all your HP and just completely dying. So that's what ended up happening here, which is very, very unfortunate, right? So let's see what he says after this attempt, right? Let's see what his like reaction is. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I have no. I can do it. I'm not gonna have fun doing it, but I can do it. I just have to be like super patient, and just run towards it and dodge every attack on the way. It's just annoying. I don't.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, chat, is, for me personally, I do want to, kind of explain this a little bit. When I watch like Twitch VODs and YouTube videos, I've just kind of like developed this ability, I suppose. You might consider it to be like a superhuman gift or whatever. I don't even know what you want to call it, but I have this ability that am very I am very appreciative that I am able to do this. But basically every video, every, Twitch VOD that I watch, I always watch it at 2 times speed just because I feel like for some reason 1 time speed is a little bit too slow for me. Um the only time that I ever watch anything in 1 time speed is when I'm watching a live stream of a content creator that I respect and I admire and I enjoy their content, right? But if we're talking about Twitch VODs and YouTube videos, I always watch those at 2 times speed. Um, so what I'm gonna do here is I'll put it at 1.5 times speed, and we're gonna listen to what Garnt has to say because he has some interesting thoughts, and I want to kind of like talk about what he says. But he does sometimes talk a little bit slowly, so I want to speed it up a little bit so I can, get through it a little bit quicker, right? All right, so let's see what he has to say here. Can I back up the video
I'm not
here?
gonna have fun doing it, but I can do it. I just have to be
There
like
we go.
super patient, and just run towards it and dodge every attack on the way. It's just annoying. I don't really care that much about beating it. That's it. I can speedrun Radagon pretty easily. I'm good. I'm good. We'll see the DLC. We'll see what the DLC holds. Man. Rage quits. This isn't really a rage quit. This is more of a uninterested quit, I guess. If this is the final boss, then there's not much motivation for me to be a sweaty gamer, unlike with the Fire Giant or whatever. Excuses? Yes, excuses. I don't care. I got addicted to Elden Ring because it was fucking fun and one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. And I don't need to beat it to, I don't need to beat it to know how fucking amazing of an experience it was for me. We got Melania, which is my favorite boss of all time. Fucking incredible. We got married in the game as well. And I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I'm very happy with everything the game has shown me, and I'm satisfied. Basically, I've seen enough. I'm satisfied. We'll wait for the DLC, or maybe I'll play Sekiro before then. Or maybe I'll go back to Gacha games. But that is the last Elden Ring stream for a while. I don't know what I'm doing with the DLC. I don't even know if I'm even going to be playing Sekiro before the DLC. But what I will say is we are coming back to anime streams. I know it has been a while since I've streamed anything else, but Gacha.
Okay. So I think he's basically said, everything that he wanted to say about Elden Ring, right? So, let me go back here and I'll just pause the video at this point, right? So to kind of talk a little bit about Garnt's, basically his reaction, his I guess like his opinion on, the game of Elden Ring as a whole, and then of specifically the final boss fight, right? Um, I think that it is very, very fair, very valid for Garnt to feel this way, right? I think it is very, very fair for Garnt to basically say, Yeah, you know what? Am not having an amazing time fighting this boss, and therefore I decide that I'm not going to continue fighting this boss, right? Uh, I think that there's two different sides to what Garnt is saying, right? On the one hand, I 100% agree that Elden Beast is a garbage boss fight. I don't like the boss fight at all. I think it's really cringe. I think it's very fucking lame. And I think that, in all honesty, when I first played through Elden Ring, right? So the very first time on the base game playthrough, when I encountered Elden Beast as the final boss, I could not help but feel very extremely disappointed, right? I thought to myself that it would have been so much cooler if they gave Radagon basically a second phase or like a different form to fight for the phase 2 rather than fighting Elden Beast. I felt like Elden Beast was such a like, you know, random boss that I did not really understand the significance or the importance of the Elden Beast being in the game, right? And basically being the final boss fight. And here's the thing, right? I have watched lore videos about Elden Ring. I have watched everything that Vati Vidya has produced on YouTube. So I know about, the Elden Beast and the connection that the creature has to the lore and to the game, right? I understand that the Elden Beast is a significant, entity in the game, but even so, that does not mean that Elden Beast is required to be the final boss of the entire game, right? I legit think that, if the developers, if they wanted to put Elden Beast in the game as a boss fight, they could have done so. And yeah, maybe they make Elden Beast a required boss, or maybe they make Elden Beast an unrequired boss that is optional that you can skip if you want to. Regardless of what they do, I think that they should not have put Elden Beast as the final boss fight of the game. Because to me, even though Elden Beast is a very significant, important part of the lore of the game, if you are someone who does not watch Elden Ring lore videos before you start playing the game and you start getting into it, right? If you are not someone who literally goes online and researches every single tiny small detail about Elden Ring and the lore, then there is a very, very high probability that you reach Radagon and you reached Elden Beast. And when you reach them, you discover that Elden Beast is the final boss, and you sit there and you think, who is this? Or what is this? And why is this here? Right? Like, basically, what I'm saying is that the average casual Elden Ring player who does not, consume every single, aspect of the lore of the game, for the average casual Elden Ring player, you will not care about the Elden Beast being the final boss. It won't matter to you. It won't have any sort of like, amazing wow effect where you're like, oh my god, this is crazy, this is insane. I'm so glad that Elden Beast is the final boss of the game, right? Like, no average, regular, normal, casual Elden Ring player is going to have that thought in their head, right? Um, so yeah, I personally agree with Garnt that Elden Beast is not an enjoyable fight. I don't like the fight. I think the boss is fucking lame. I think the boss is cringe, and I would have rather had a different final boss, right? The one thing that I will kind of disagree with Gar, not fully disagree, not like, trying to say, oh, Garnt is 100% incorrect and wrong and false and just like, he is basically just telling lies, right? And spreading fake news and whatever, right? I'm not saying that Garnt is, completely not allowed to have his own opinion, but I will kind of sort of slightly disagree with something that he said, right? He said that basically, you know, he does not feel that he needs to beat Elden Beast in order to appreciate Elden Ring as a game, in order to, in order to recognize how incredible, how amazing of a game Elden Ring is, right? I think that is a fair opinion for him to have. However, this is what I will say, right? As sort of like, imagine that he like his comment, his idea, his opinion. Imagine that there's an asterisk right next to his comment, right next to his opinion. And basically what I'm gonna say, what I'm gonna add on to that is I'm gonna say the following, right? I think that you do not need to finish a game in order to know how good or bad a game is, right? You can play, let's say, 1 hour of a game, and you can be like, oh, well, this game feels like shit, and I don't like it. And therefore, you know, I recognize that it is not a good quality game, right? And then you can quit that game and you can never play it again and you can move on to other games, right? Simultaneously, you can also play a game. You can play like, 2 hours of it, 3 hours of it, and you can be like, holy shit, this game is fun. I love this game. I'm enjoying it. I really appreciate this game. But, maybe you are someone who, hypothetically, maybe you have a lot of IRL responsibilities. You're a very busy person. And so, in order to not get stuck on this game, in order to not spend the next 10,000 hours of your life playing this game, you decide, oh, I want to try out other games out there. I want to experience variety of games out there. I don't want to be stuck on only this one game right here. Therefore, I'm going to stop the game here at 2 to 3 hours and I'm going to move on and I'm going to experience something else, right? You can definitely do that. And you can definitely, have this opinion where even though you did not finish the game, you know that the game is really, really good, right? That is totally fair. I think what I would say is that, in my personal opinion, if you really, really want to show that you respect and that you appreciate a game and that you love a game where you're like, holy shit, this game is a certified banger and I appreciate this game, I respect this game, I love this game. This game was such a magical, memorable experience for me that I will treasure and I will really really appreciate the experience that I had while playing this game, right? I think that if you want to show the utmost love and respect and appreciation for a game, I think that it is not necessarily required, but it is highly, highly, highly recommended that you finish a game, right? Because if you don't finish a game, if you don't, beat all of the levels, all the stages, all the bosses or whatever, and you quit the game, right? And let's say that you quit the game and you're like, 97, 98% done with the game, it kind of sounds a little bit strange when you say, "Oh my god, I'm such a big fan of this game," while also simultaneously not having completed it, you know? Um yeah, I don't know. I think like the way that I would say it is when you have that situation where you don't complete a game and you leave it completely unfinished, right? With like, let's say 2% progress left or whatever, or even like maybe 15% progress left, right? It introduces this, idea that, oh, you say, you claim that you love this game and that you appreciate, that you respect it. However, you are not really a true fan or a true enjoyer of the game unless you actually completed it, the entire thing, unless you experienced the entire package, right? And so other people will judge you and they will doubt you and they will be like, I think you might potentially be lying, you know? Um, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like that same um uh it's that same sort of situation where, you can tell someone, right? You can tell someone, hypothetically speaking, oh, I played, you know, I played, 1,000 hours of Elden Ring, but I didn't beat the game. I only just, went around and fought all of the open world enemies and all of the optional bosses and whatever, but I didn't beat the game, right? And you can tell someone that you did that, but, you know, there is, unless you basically show that other person, you know, actual legitimate evidence, actual proof that you did that, that you accomplished that, they will doubt you and they will be like, I don't know whether you're lying or whether you're telling the truth, and whether you are believable or whether you are a little bit suspicious with your claims, right? So that type of situation is very similar to playing a game and getting like, 97, 98% of the way through the game, almost getting to the very end and finishing it, and then being like, nope, I'm choosing to quit. And then, you might go to someone else and talk to them and you claim that you are an immense, like massive, huge fan of this game. And then they're like, oh yeah, well, how was your journey? How was your experience? And you tell them, well, you see, I didn't finish the game. That person will have that same, thought process of like, I kind of doubt that you are a huge fan of this game if you did not finish it. I kind of doubt that you really love and respect and appreciate this game if you did not finish it. It's kind of that same level of like distrust maybe that other people will have. So it's like, while I am not saying that you are forced to, or that you have to, or that you are required to finish a game in order to basically talk about your opinions and your thoughts and your experiences and whatever, it is highly, 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 highly recommended that you do, right? Otherwise, there is room for doubt. There is room for, criticism and like potentially negative feedback and people people basically not taking you very seriously and kind of just not really being, I guess, like supportive of you, right? um yeah, and so that's kind of like the overall opinion that I have, where it's like, I understand where Garnt is coming from. I understand his opinions, his thoughts, and his reasonings for what he says, and I think that his thoughts are pretty valid, right? I think basically everything that he said is pretty valid. But the one thing that I would disagree with, that I would kind of like, kind of try to explain to him a different perspective, is that, you know, even though you are not forced to complete a game, even though you're not required to complete a game, it is something that is very, very highly recommended. And so, you know, as we just now watched in this video, Giga said that basically this was going to be his final Elden Ring stream, and he said that, like, in the future he may potentially play the DLC and live stream it, right? He might go through the DLC and live stream it. Um, what I would say, right? If I had the ability to, like, basically send a message to Giguk and to like talk to him about this, what I would tell him is, I would be like, "Hey man, listen. I know that you struggled against the final boss. I know that you had a hard time. I know that you did not like the fight, right? But even though that happened, what I would tell Garnt is that my suggestion, my recommendation would be he plays through the DLC, he experiences everything that the DLC has to offer. You know, he fights all the bosses and explores all the new areas. And then, after he is done with the DLC, he should come back and fight Radagon and Elden Beast again. And I think that he should basically, to put it in a simple explanation, I guess, right? I think that he should come back to finish what he started at the very beginning, right? But obviously, I think that in his case, getting to explore and experience the DLC is a much higher priority than defeating Radagon and Elden Beast, right? Radagon and Elden Beast, they can wait, right? They can be saved for the very, very, very end of the journey. And it doesn't matter whether it is completed within the next year or within the next 5 years or whatever. I think that as long as Garnt, as long as Giguk is willing to go through with it and willing to finish the entire experience, the entire journey, right, of Elden Ring, I think that it would be worthwhile, and that ultimately, and I feel like Giguk would appreciate that. He would be much happier if he was able to complete the entire full journey, the full experience of Elden Ring, right? Um, but yeah. So that was the thing that I wanted to like showcase you guys, right? That was the video that I wanted to discuss and talk about very quickly. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna do this. There we go, perfect. And then I'm gonna do this. Wonderful. All right. And then I'm gonna do, let me see here. I'm gonna do this. Perfect. Awesome. Fantastic stuff. All right. So, chat, here's what I think I'm gonna do. Right here. Here's what I think I'm gonna do. We can go ahead and we can, play the end credit scene of Elden Ring. We can watch the last final cutscene and whatever, and we can, get to watch the credits, go by on the screen, right? Um, I think that I am going to refrain from starting New Game Plus 8 just yet. Because what I'm actually thinking, what I want to try to potentially do is, I thought about it, and I was like, it would probably be a pretty good, decent idea to go around and collect any like valuable items that I want to get in New Game Plus 7 before moving on to New Game Plus 8. And specifically, I think the number one item that I want to get more of before I move on is this item right here. You can kind of see it in the bottom left corner. It is the gold pickled fowl foot, I believe is the name of it. If I can show you it. I think it's right here. Yes, the gold pickled fowl foot. So getting more of this item in preparation for New Game Plus 8 and future playthroughs, I think is a very, very wise decision. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay in New Game Plus 7 even after the end credits play. And then yeah, we're gonna basically end our Elden Ring, streaming journey there. Like that's gonna be the last thing that we do, and then basically for me, you know, uh, going and finding all the different gold pickled foul foots and then starting New Game Plus 8, I will probably not live stream that stuff. I will probably just go ahead and play that stuff offline and do it on my own time and enjoy the game myself. Um, Even though I would love to continue streaming Elden Ring in the future, I think that, like, you know, I'm not really known as an Elden Ring streamer. it would be nice if I was. That would be a huge honor if I was. But I don't think that my audience, absolutely loves Elden Ring as like, a like kind of main game for me to play. I feel like a lot of my viewers they watch like Genshin, they watch like Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, maybe Wuthering Waves and other types of streams. So I think it's a lot better for me to kind of diversify the games that I play and do some variety gameplay rather than only streaming one game and only playing one game for my entire streaming journey, my streaming career, right? Um, Although I feel like career is the wrong word to use in this situation. But yeah, so I think all the rest of like any additional Elden Ring gameplay that I do, I'll just do it on my own, offline, just enjoying it by myself, rather than live streaming it. But I do want to say, massive, massive thank you to anyone and everyone who did, watch my Elden Ring journey. This has been officially, technically, day 15 of me playing the DLC. And after 15 days of playing the DLC, we have completed everything, right? Um, yeah, we have finished everything in the DLC. We've fought Radagon and Elden Beast. We've completed everything in the base game as well. So we are ready to move on to a new game plus cycle. Um, if I had to give my overall thoughts on the Elden Ring DLC, right? I think this is what I would probably say. Okay? I think that the Elden Ring DLC was an incredible, memorable, very, very entertaining experience, right? I think that there was so much content involved in the DLC that I lost track of everything, and I felt like there was so many things to do and so many things to see that it kind of just felt like I was playing a brand new video game in its entirety, and that was really cool. That was something I was very, very happy about. um, I think for the most part, right, there were a lot of like bosses and enemies that were not very annoying, not very difficult, not very challenging. So I don't think that I really hated um, any of those kind of main bosses and main enemies and whatever, right? That being said, right, while maybe about, if I were to, take a guess and estimate, I would probably say about like 80 or 90% of the bosses and enemies in the DLC were very manageable and very tolerable and not bad at all, right? However, the remaining, 10% or 20% or whatever of the bosses in the DLC that, were a lot more powerful and a lot more annoying and a lot more frustrating to fight against, those bosses, they, they sucked and I hated them, right? Um, if I were to name a few of them off the top of my head, let me see here. I think, okay, so number one, without a doubt, the most difficult boss ever. Radon, Promised Consort, right? The final boss fight of the DLC. That was extremely difficult and a pain in the ass, and I fucking hated it. I think like one of the main reasons why I despise that final boss is that I don't really feel like the players are given the ultimate freedom to choose whatever build, whatever strategy that they want to. I think that you can try to use any build, any strategy, but there are certain strategies, certain builds that work incredibly effectively, and it makes it to where you basically do not want to use any other build or strategy that is not as optimal, not as effective, because man, oh man, Radon, he is a very, very powerful boss that you do not want to fuck around with, right? If you attempt to use like a build or a strategy that that you think might potentially deal some significant damage and take him down, uh, you will fuck around and find out, and you will probably get your face smashed into the ground by Radagon, or not Radagon, by Radon, by Promise Consort Radon. So Radon was definitely, I think he was probably the most difficult boss in the entire DLC, which is very fair, very understandable, him being the final boss, right? Besides Radon, I think that Rolana was a very, very annoying garbage boss that I did not love. I think that, so what I would say about Rolana is that her phase 1 is manageable and tolerable, and I don't hate it. But her phase 2 is just like insanely garbage. I thought that it was horrible, and I had a miserable time fighting her. Um, yeah, basically Rolana has a lot of attacks that, are very, very tricky and hard to deal with. I feel like Rolana is the type of boss where, you know, basically no matter whether you are no matter whether you are fighting Rolana up close or whether you are trying to do a ranged battle, I feel like it is very challenging. She has ways to counter both methods, Um, so there's Rolana, right? We have what else? So we have Rolana, we have Radon. Um, I would say another boss. Okay, so I think that this boss is probably the one that I would consider to be like the second most annoying or frustrating boss in the entire DLC, and that is Midra, right? The Lord of Frenzied Flame. I fucking hated the Midra fight. I thought it was garbage. I thought it was terrible, and I had a miserable time, right? Um, so Midra was just like, yeah, it was horrible, right? I hated it. There was nothing like, okay, other than the fact that Midra, Lord of Frenzied Flame, is an important, entity, an important character or whatever, who is, a part of the lore of the game, right? Um, and I think that like in terms of the visual appearance of the boss, he looks very badass, right? Other than those two things, I have no other compliments. I have no other positive things that I can say about the boss. I basically hated everything else about the boss. Um, so yeah, Midra was definitely very, very, very challenging. Um, After Midra, I would say, yeah, I would probably say that Mesmer was a very, very difficult boss fight that I had a lot of trouble with. And Mesmer really fucked me up proper. He absolutely beat my ass like over 100 times, I think, maybe even 150 times or some shit like that. It took me a long time to defeat him, right? But I think that out of all the different bosses in the DLC, I think Mesmer was he was the least annoying, least frustrating one out of the ones that I just now named, right? So Radon, Midra, Rolana, Mesmer, those four were really, really troublesome, but I think Mesmer is like the bottom of the list of four, right? Um, yeah, and I think that in terms of overall my impression, right, of these bosses and whatnot, I think that Mesmer is probably one of my favorite bosses in terms of design, like the way that he looks, his weapon, his attacks, and whatever. It's extremely badass and extremely really really cool, and I really appreciate that. So great job to the developers in terms of like designing the boss itself, and designing like the characteristics and the abilities and whatever. I thought it was really, really fucking cool. Um, yeah, yeah, that's I think what I can say. But overall, there were bosses that were tolerable, that were manageable, that I did not mind, and then there was other bosses that were a massive, massive, major piece of shit that I hated, and that really, like, these were bosses where it made me want to punch a hole in a wall, or it made me want to, like, break a bunch of different objects, right? Like break a chair, or break a desk, or break a keyboard or something, right? Maybe break a monitor, you know? There were some very, very frustrating bosses. And so I think that, overall, my experience with the DLC, I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I think it was a very, very, very memorable time. And, I will absolutely be playing the DLC in the future, right? Like, I will be continuing to do more New Game Plus cycles, without a doubt. Um, but, yeah, no. I think, hmm if I had to give the DLC like a numerical score, like a value, right, in terms of giving it a rating or a review, I would probably say that the DLC is overall a minimum of an 8 out of 10, right? 8 out of 10 quality DLC. I enjoyed it. There were some flaws, there were some problems that, pissed me off and that really got on my nerves, but I would experience it again, and I would recommend other players, other people, to experience the DLC on their own, right? Um, yeah, yeah. It was a pretty good time, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see basically what happens in the next New Game Plus cycle. Um, I think the only other thing that I can think of to talk about with the DLC, where, like, I wish that I could take this comment that I'm about to say, and I wish I could submit it as like feedback to the developers, and explain to them basically the issue and the problem. I think it was kind of disappointing, kind of frustrating, and annoying that, I went through this DLC, and I kind of tried my very best to take things very, very, you know, very casually, very slowly, right? And I tried to explore different places, and I tried to, take my time with, discovering bosses, and new areas, and, basically discovering new parts of the lore and stuff like that, right? So I tried to, be patient, and to go through it as thoroughly as I possibly could. However, even though I tried that, even though, I put in the effort to hopefully accomplish that, right? There were, I believe, some NPC quest lines and some, dialogue, some items that I missed out on in the DLC because I, managed to screw up some of the NPC quest lines, and I managed to essentially, like, progress way too quickly than I was meant to, progress. And I, even though I did not realize that I was rushing, I found out later, after the fact, that I had gone way too far. And I had, screwed up a quest line, and I was locked out of the ability to obtain a weapon, or obtain a sorcery, or an incantation, or a consumable item, or whatever. And, I was not able to meet and talk with certain NPCs and whatnot. So it was like, that I think was something that I was very upset about, very, very disappointed with, in terms of, like, my first ever DLC playthrough. I kind of hate that you are sort of forced to play the DLC multiple times if you want to get every single thing, properly, right? Um, But then again, right, even though you're kind of put in that situation, Elden Ring is still a very enjoyable experience. It's still a very fun game. So, I don't particularly hate the idea of having to replay the DLC a second time over, right? Um, yeah, yeah. It's kind of just food for thought, something to really ponder and consider, right? Um, but yeah. That's kind of overall my thoughts and opinions that I've had regarding my experiences with this game so far. Um, cool, awesome. Well, chat, we finally reached the end credit scene portion, and so we should be ready to watch the final cutscene and to roll credits and go back to the main menu of the game. So we can go ahead and do that pretty soon here. It looks like there is an advertisement going on right now that should be ending right about now. I think it's ending. So yeah, now that we are returned from the ads, I think we're good to go. Let me see here. Boku said, "Hey Cappy, how are you? I kind of have some questions. Feel free to ask whatever questions you have. Go ahead." And yeah, I hope you're doing well, Boku. Rolana took you 40 tries, 9 hours to defeat her. Midra too. Despise Mesmer, 70 for you, but it wasn't as bad. Yeah, I think Mesmer was definitely like he was frustrating. He was annoying, but he was not the worst. By far not the worst, without a doubt. But yeah, Boku, feel free to ask any questions that you have. Whether it be about this game, whether it be about any other game, doesn't really matter. Alright, let's see here. Mend the Elden Ring. Here we go, chat. Final cutscene. What an ugly ass head. I love how ridiculously massive our armor looks. Very funny. I heckin' love the flashbang.
The fallen leaves tell a story of how a tarnished became Elden Lord. In our home, across the fog, the lands between. Our seed will look back upon us and recall an age of fracture.
Don't we look lovely, chat? With our weird old man mask and our massive fat armor. I love it. What an experience. What an experience. Massive shout out to From Software for, basically making this entire game work, putting it together. It is definitely 100% a very, very memorable experience, without a doubt. In any case, let's go ahead and skip the credits. Begin Journey 9. If you do not start over now, you can choose to begin Journey 9 later at the Table of Grace in the Round Table Hold. We are not going to begin Journey 9 yet. I'm going to finish up some stuff in Journey 8 before we jump into Journey 9. Very, very cool. Hell yeah, chat. And there we go. We are finally donezo with the entire DLC experience for Elden Ring. This was the culmination of that, right? Over the course of the last 15 streams that we've done, 15 days of Elden Ring streaming, we have managed to complete the entire entire journey, right? Entire experience. Yeah, wow. It's kind of bittersweet, right? I'm glad that I was able to get through it and to make it work, but at the same time, you know, I also kind of feel like, man, I will never be able to re-experience the DLC from a fresh perspective without knowing what is to come, right? Yeah, from now on, you know, whenever I go and replay the DLC, I already know what to expect, you know? So yeah. Yeah. It's very interesting indeed. Let's see here. It's a coincidence that you just beat the game again. Did the Age of Stars ending. Nice. Very, very nice. I did the Age of Stars ending, I think. I don't remember if that was the very first ending that I did. It might have been either the first or the second whenever I played Elden Ring, you know, as a fresh, brand new player on New Game, you know, base New Game or New Game +1. But yeah, the Age of Stars ending is pretty fucking dope. What are the best weapons or builds to use in DLC? Holy damage is peak. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Boku. I realize that these people are your friends and that you care about them, but frankly, I don't know your friends, and therefore I don't really care about your friends. I'm gonna say this as straightforward and bluntly as possible. Your friends are kind of stupid. Holy damage doesn't do shit in the DLC. Okay? I would say, in my personal opinion, there are basically... Yeah, I would say that there are, you know, at the very least, at the very bare minimum, there are two builds that I would recommend for people to go for, right? Build number one is a very simple, classic mage build, a sorcerer build, where you just, you know, utilize different sorceries, whether it's glintstone sorceries, whether it is, you know, like sorceries from, what is it called? The, like, carrion sorceries, right? That sort of stuff. It can be, like, any type of sorcery, any type of magic that is in the game. Utilizing that is pretty damn powerful, right? You know, alongside that, it's very similar, and I kind of group these two together because, you know, I feel like these two types of builds are quite similar. Basically, you have, you know, sorceries, right, which scale off of intelligence, right? And then the counterpart to that is incantations, which scale off of faith. I think that you can either choose to be a sorcerer or an incantation expert, and you can build your character accordingly. So you either level intelligence or you level faith, and you focus on that as like your main source of damage, right? I think that Elden Ring, whether you're talking about in the base game or whether you're talking about in the DLC, there are some really, really powerful, really incredible sorceries, and simultaneously there's some really good, powerful incantations that you can use, right? Now, let's say that you're talking about, like, okay, I don't want to be a sorcerer, I don't want to be a an incantation user, right? I prefer to maybe do like, you know, melee fighting, sort of up close, you know, damage dealing, right? Okay, in my personal opinion, if we are talking about like kind of like the best general, sort of universal, uh, uh, like weapon that I personally feel is really, really useful and really beneficial for almost anyone and everyone in the game, I would probably choose the following. Where is it? I would choose either this one, the Dryleaf Arts, or the Dane's Footwork. I would choose one of these two, right? I think that martial arts in, you know, the DLC and also in the base game, right? I think it is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. And, like, you know, I've spoken with another Elden Ring player who, you know, I know is very knowledgeable about the game and who has had a lot of experience playing the game. He has said that, like, basically using, I think it's specifically the Dryleaf Arts, martial arts, you know, weapon. He said that using this, if you have your character built properly, you know, using this, you know, kind of weapon type, and then using the weapon art called Palm Blast, he said that you can basically kill bosses within, like, you know, 10 hits or something like that. You can basically, like, solo bosses really easily with, you know, one of these two particular weapons in the game. And yeah, you know, the really cool thing about these two weapons, these martial arts weapons, is that you can modify them at you know, the blacksmith table, and you can make it to where they deal, you know, magic damage, or they deal you know, bleed damage, or frostbite damage, or poison damage, or whatever, right? Which is quite beneficial. I think that's really, really good, right? Let me see. I think, okay, so if we are talking about DLC weapons, right? DLC weapons specifically, I think that potentially the, where is it? So, like, the backhand blade, I think this could be a really, really, you know, powerful weapon. And then there's also the, where are they? Are they up here, or are they lower on the list? I think they're lower on the list. Oh, like, this one right here, the Smith script weapons, right? I think these Smith script weapons are actually quite useful. You have the dagger, and then you also have, where is it? You also have... So, like, this one right here, this is the Smith Script Great Hammer, right? You also have... I think Smith Script Axe, right? There we go. Smith Script Axe is one of them. So those Smith Script weapons, I think, are actually pretty darn useful and quite good if you, you know, if you build your character properly and you use your stats to, you know, kind of like basically leveling up your stats to match the weapon. I think they can be very, very powerful, right? Besides those weapons, yeah, I mean, I think that question that you're asking, right? There is a level of, you know, there's a level of subjectivity to it where, you know, I don't have the authority to declare that certain weapons are objectively the best weapons in the DLC or in the entire game, right? I can say that, you know, I have my own opinions, I have my own thoughts on what are the best ones, but overall it kind of just depends on the individual person who is playing the game and what their build is, what they enjoy playing, that sort of a thing, right? Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. But let me see, is there anything else notable worth mentioning? I mean, like, for me personally, I really like katana weapons, and I also really like the idea of great katanas, right? So, like, this one right here, the Rakshasas great katana. We've got the Dragon Hunter great katana, and then the blood, the regular great katana, right? I think that these weapons are quite good, but that's just kind of like more of a personal preference type thing, right? Um, yeah. Your screen keeps moving around. Wait, it does? Are you talking about like my game screen? Cause like I'm moving around like my controller, right? Like I'm using my controller to move around the different spots, right? And show off different weapons. But if you're talking about like the screen itself is like moving or whatever, I don't know about that. Like I'm not doing anything to make my screen move, so I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, no, like I think so in general, right? Generally speaking, I would say that let me see. I think bleed is a very good damage type in DLC. I think that frost is a really good damage type in DLC. Um, Besides that, there's, you know, for example, Scarlet Rot. Scarlet Rot is not a bad choice. Um, what else is there? I know for a fact that there is actually in the DLC, there's like a new category of weapons, which is called the perfume bottles. I'm pretty sure, um, I'm pretty sure the perfume bottles that exist in the DLC, I believe that they scale off of faith. So if you level up your faith on your character, you can utilize them effectively. But the perfume bottles are quite interesting because there's different types of them. In fact, let me see if I can pull them up here. Um, let's go to my inventory. There we go. So, perfume bottles, we have one right here, which is the Fire Spark perfume. We have the Lightning perfume, the Chilling perfume, and the Frenzy Flame perfume. There's actually another one that I don't have here on, you know, in my inventory. And the reason why I don't have it is because you are required to complete a very specific quest line in order for you to gain access to it. And I completely fucked up that quest line, so I was not able to get it. The last one that you are able to obtain is one called the Poison perfume bottle. But it's not, so that perfume bottle, the Poison one, it is not regular poison. It is something new that is called deadly poison, which means that it's way more powerful, way more effective compared to regular poison. It is way more dangerous. So I would say that if you are running a faith build, using these perfume bottles might potentially be something very extremely powerful for you. So it's definitely worth considering, very worth looking into, right? Yeah, and then like, you know, one final thing that I can mention very quickly is that I remember I was like, you know, talking to some Elden Ring players, and they talked about how like specifically this weapon right here, the Beast Claw, and then I think also like the Red Bear's Claw and other claw weapons in the game, I think are very extremely powerful for you know, quickly attacking enemies, quickly attacking bosses, and potentially, you know, inflicting them with status effects, you know, status ailments such as bleed or frost or poison or whatever other stuff that there is, right? So yeah. I think that there are a variety of different choices, but in my personal opinion, what I would say is that I personally believe that holy damage is not at all the recommendation. I don't think it is the right way to go. Um, so yeah. Let's see. You've been using the Rakshasa katana? Yeah, it looks pretty damn good. I think I like that katana quite a lot. Oh, you think it was the pop-up ads? Okay. You have the Frenzied Flame perfume bottle. That one's a pretty decently good one, yeah. Sword of Night. Let me see here. Hold on. Sword of Night. Is it this one? Hold on. I need to look this up. Because I'm like 99% sure that this is the one. Oh, maybe you might be talking about the other one. You might be talking about the other one if I'm not mistaken. So, basically, I think that you are probably referring to this one right here, potentially. Sword of Night. Because there's this one right here, which is called the Sword of Night and Flame. And then you have this one right here, which is basically the opposite. So this weapon right here, it comes from the stone sheathed sword, and you can change it in between the Sword of Light and then the Sword of Darkness, right? Sword of Darkness is the opposite. So if you're referring to the Sword of Darkness, that is going to be very different from this one right here, the Sword of Night Flame. Um, so, um, if you're talking about the Sword of Darkness, I don't really know if it is a viable weapon. I don't really know if it's that powerful. I'm gonna be completely honest right here. Let me take a look at this weapon. Raises the sword, cleaving the surroundings with darkness, dealing holy damage in the process, temporarily reducing holy damage negation. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I can say, Boku, right? Here's like the best, I guess, advice that I can give, right? Um for the Sword of Darkness, right? Since it is a weapon that basically, it specializes in holy damage, right? That's kind of the entire shtick. That's the entire function of it, right? I think that there are not a lot of bosses where using that weapon is very optimal. I don't think it's a very smart idea. I don't think it is recommended at all. You can if you really want to, but I don't feel like it is worth it, right? Off the top of my head, there is only one singular boss in the DLC that I know for a fact is weak to holy damage, and that is the Putrescence Knight. Yeah, the Putrescence Knight is weak to holy damage, and I can let me actually look this up right here. Holy damage. Let's see. Um, Okay, that's not bad. So, taking a look at the wiki page here, right, Boku? It says that Commander Gaius and the Ghost Flame Dragons, right? As well as the Putrescent Knight in the DLC. Sorry, I don't know why, but I have the hiccups right now. Very weird. So those three bosses, Commander Gaius, Ghost Flame Dragons, and Putrescent Knight, they are weak to holy damage, right? Let me take a look here. Okay. Yeah, I think those three are basically the only three in the DLC where it would be potentially, a good idea to utilize that weapon, right? Um, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I can gather so far from the information that I have. Uh, as I mentioned, I don't really think that it's a great idea to, utilize that weapon against like all the different bosses and all the different enemies in the DLC. But if you really want to, you absolutely can. The main like tricky part about the Sword of Darkness is that from what I saw of the weapon art for that weapon, it seems like that weapon art potentially has a long animation time, and I think that you are very likely vulnerable. You are very likely capable of being hit and damaged while you are attempting to cast that weapon art. So it might be one where if you are like fighting against a certain boss, where that boss has like pretty rapid, pretty quick attacks, it may not be viable. It may not be a smart idea. But the three bosses that I mentioned, being Commander Gaius, Ghost Flame Dragons, and Putrescent Knight, you can use that weapon against them. Otherwise, I would strongly advise you against it. That's just my take. Um, but yeah. All right. Did I miss anything else? Let me take a look here. I'm gonna go through the chat logs. Not the Sword of Darkness. You looked it up and you don't think that's it. So let me show you something very quickly here, Boku. This weapon right here, the Sword of Night and Flame, I believe this weapon is the only other weapon in the game that has the word sword and the word knight, right? Um, the Sword of Darkness is the only other, weapon that could closely resemble this one. Let me actually, I'm going to check the Wikipedia page. I'm going to see, maybe there's a sword that I missed out on, but I don't think that there is. Let me see. Sword of Night. Oh, shit. Hold on. What is this one? Oh. Oh, that is what. Okay. Okay. This makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense right now. So, the reason why I did not recognize this particular weapon is because this weapon is one that you get from a particular NPC questline. And basically, so with this NPC quest line, you choose one of two options, right? You can give the NPC item number one or item number two. And depending on what item that you give to that NPC, you will get a reward from the NPC. And this sword, called the Sword of Night, I did not select this reward. I got the other reward, which I believe is the Spirit Ashes, right? Um, so yeah, I do not have this weapon. Let me see here. I'm taking a look right now at the weapon overall. Okay. Wait a second. That is actually pretty fucking dope. Yo, that's actually pretty fucking cool. Okay, okay. Wow, so it only scales with Dex. That's impressive. That was really, really impressive. Hell yeah. Huh, okay, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, like reading about that particular weapon on the wiki page, it looks extremely, extremely cool. I kind of want that weapon. I think it's a really, really cool weapon. And you know, definitely without a doubt, when I go into New Game Plus 8, I will be obtaining it. I will be getting my hands on it, without any doubt. Um, yeah. Yeah, so, you know, with regards to that weapon, right, Boku? I think that that weapon, the Sword of Night, I think it is a very, 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 you know, useful, very valuable weapon that you can utilize for just in general fighting against enemies or bosses or whatever you want to do with it, right? Um, I think, you know, based on the fact that this weapon art that the Sword of Night has is quite unique and special, I think that it's probably better if you basically have Sword of Night and then instead of you know, having holding it only in one hand, I think it's better to just grab it with two hands and use it two-handed in battle. Um, it looks like a very, very, very capable weapon, a very capable katana that is quite powerful. Um, yeah, I think it is definitely a very strong, you know, option for a weapon if you want to use this particular weapon against bosses. Um, it doesn't. Let me see here. Oh, interesting. So it deals a tiny amount of magic damage on it. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I will say the bleed is a little bit low in terms of the number, but if let's say that hypothetically, you know, the using the weapon art, if you use that, if each hit of the weapon art kind of has a chance of procking bleed, then I think that the weapon art may make this particular sort of knight to be extremely powerful. And be able to like proc bleed a lot more quickly and a lot more consistently than you know what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, no, this weapon here looks really, really good. It seems like this weapon, it only scales with dexterity. So if you are, you know, wanting to properly build your character around it, I would definitely focus very heavily on upgrading dexterity to a maximum number that you possibly can. You know, maybe like 60 dexterity or 80 dexterity or you know, some number above 60, I think works. But yeah, no, this looks like a very, very uh promising, very, very good quality katana, without a doubt. Um, yeah, I think it works. I think it's pretty darn strong, pretty darn powerful. So yeah. But let me see here. Did I miss any other messages here? Are you gonna keep playing Elden Ring or are you gonna stop for a while? So that's a great question, right, Boku? I kind of talked about this a little bit at the beginning of my stream, but I'll go over it again very quickly. Basically, what I'm gonna be doing with Elden Ring is, you know, from now on, right? You know, this Elden Ring stream that I'm doing right now, it is kind of gonna be like my last Elden Ring stream that I do, and any like future gameplay that I do whether it is in New Game Plus 7 or New Game Plus 8 or Plus 9 or whatever, I will go ahead and play Elden Ring offline and kind of just enjoy it on my own time. You know, when I go live and when I stream, I will be playing other games. I'll be playing other variety games instead. Because I feel like, you know, me being a streamer that you know typically enjoys playing variety games, I don't think that it is a very smart idea to continuously stream Elden Ring over and over and over again, without ever quitting, right? I feel like, you know, for me personally, and then very likely for my viewers as well, I feel like it can get quite stale. It can get quite repetitive and potentially boring. So I would rather experience more variety games rather than sticking to one singular game that I always stream and I never never stop streaming it, right? So yeah. Okay. I don't think I missed any other messages in the chat, so hopefully, you know, hopefully I was able to respond to everything and answer everything. And yeah, I hope that, you know, at least some of the information that I gave is accurate and is helpful. But yeah, chat. So I think now that we have finished New Game Plus 7 and we, you know, have watched the final cutscene and the credits. I think I'm gonna go ahead and basically, you know, log out or close Elden Ring